Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last.
Why should a healthy respect of older friendships be encouraged? Welcome to Making It Last podcast. I'm your host, Noreen Daly. And this is the place where it's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, but with other people. And to have this conversation with me this time around is Neon Nation, brand strategist and founder of Splint. Welcome, Neon.
Thanks for having me.
So let me give a context before we get into this. And it's interesting because I have personal experience with most topics, but with this one, I have found, Neon, that sometimes you meet, you make new friends,
right.
And sometimes these new friends cause unnecessary tension because they don't necessarily respect the older friendships that you have had.
Right.
So all of this is to just help to heighten the awareness that it is actually important to pay attention to that.
Right.
What's your experience?
I am yet to decide what position I'm going to take in this conversation.
Okay.
Because I can see it from both sides.
Okay.
I guess my base thought or my base, conclusion would be that older friendships should be respected by, newer friendships.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would ask myself, but why? Like, who is telling this person that I have seniority or I've been here for a long time? So, because in my experience, a lot of the times, newer friendships are much more meaningful a lot of times than older friendships.
Elaborate on that for me, please.
So, I sometimes categorize friendships as friendships for convenience, friendships because you've spent time and you have so much vested in this, or you've racked up so many friendship miles,
Right.
that's the main driver of the relationship. So, familiarity and, we've been through this together and that. But there's no real connection, or there's nothing that really ties the relationship together. And then along comes a new friendship that it's almost like a match made in heaven. They don't have the time spent, but quickly the value that's given and the value, I'm not talking financial or anything like that, but the emotional value or friendship value, whatever you want to call it, is far more substantial than the years that you spent.
That's true.
I'll put it this way. I've always said that not all persons are born in the country that they're supposed to be born in. Not all people were supposed to be friends with the people that they were friends with. Coincidence and let's say convenience. Let's give a clear example. When I first moved to a new city in Argentina, I had an apartment, and there were some guys who came to share the apartment. I had some housemates, and we're good friends, air quote, good acquaintances. We had good times, but I was always cognizant that had it not been for convenience and circumstance, we probably would never have been friends. I say this to say, well, a lot of friendships start because of circumstance. A lot of friendships continue because of circumstance. So because a friendship starts as a circumstance doesn't mean that there's no connection or it cannot grow to be something else. But a lot of times we confuse the two, that because we were together in the same space and we have shared history, that we should continue being friends because of that. When I do an audit of my time spent and audit of, my time, my life, and I conclude that the friendships or the people who I have around me are merely there because of circumstance and history, it should really frighten me. So color that however you want to color that, and take it however you want to take it. But I don't believe that because somebody has more time spent means that they should have a stronger connection or a stronger claim then on somebody's time, space, whatever you want to call it. So I wouldn't say that newer friendships should definitely respect older friendships. What I should say is that newer friendships should just try to be genuine and try to provide value. If you're a friend with someone, you should always be trying to outvalue the other person in terms of provide more value. If somebody gives me X, I should always be trying to bring more to the table, not in a competitive way, but in an attempt to reciprocate and to anticipate. So if I see, for example, that Noreen, you've always been reaching out to me, I should reciprocate the attempt to reach out. And if I see the anticipation now comes in when if I see that there's a need or a gap, I should always be thinking, all right, what can I do to fill that gap, that need? Noreen seems tired, or Noreen seems exhausted. Why is Noreen exhausted? What can I do to help? Have I asked her? Do I need her to tell me that she needs help before I give it? Should I think that, oh well, she has older friends now, or she's been friends with this person for X time, so they should have it covered? Or should I just be, well, I see a need, I should ask if I can help and just help? So I think friendships should just be friendships, always intending to do the best for the other person and not caring about time spent.
It's interesting you should say that, because I've found myself more often than not, because I've been told I have a warm personality,
right.
So I've been told, and people gravitate towards me. And what I've noticed sometimes is that if it is that I end up spending more time with Neon than I would with somebody else, the other person feels funny, especially if it is that I knew the other person first. And I've gotten to the point, and I just recently I said to somebody that at this point in my life, I really don't think I should deprive myself of spending time with somebody whose company I enjoy.
Exactly.
Just because that other person feels funny about it. I'm sorry. It is not that I'm being insensitive to people's feelings, but I'm at the point where I'm like, my feelings also count.
Right. And I would playing right into what you're saying. I'd go a step further. If someone is getting jealous or having sour feelings because I'm spending more time with someone else than with them, I would start to wonder why that is. Is it that you really care about my interests, or do you care about how I feel, or do you just care that my time is spent with you? And if that's the case, then I need to reassess our relationship. And I think we should probably stop spending time together, because if you are uncomfortable and unstable with new people coming into my life, who you should probably see a benefit from their presence. If you have my best interest at heart, you should be happy for that.
Yeah, I agree. And that is why I've always said to people that I continue to revel in the fact that I am blessed with a wide group of friends who support me. That's why I'm able to do a lot of the things that I do. But I also recognize that even within those who I term as my inner circle, if it is that somebody quote unquote new comes along, they know their place. So they don't have to worry, or I don't have to feel as if, so I've neglected somebody in my inner circle because because they know their place and they're sure of their place. So they don't have to pull rank on anybody or seniority because they are sure. So I think what happens sometimes with some people who are quote unquote, some of the people who are new, sometimes they're not too sure that is when you might have problems. But I just think if each person would just focus on your connection with somebody rather than being overly concerned about their connection with other people,
Right.
we could all just coexist.
Right. And to go right back at it, chances are that our time has expired.
Oh,
That's a possibility.
that sounds harsh, but it's life.
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
Think about it this way, and this is the way I've thought about it. If I've been friends with someone for a long time, and someone new comes on the scene, and that person is moving in a different space and sees that the new person is contributing in some significant way to their good and to their well-being, I should be okay with that person moving on and reveling and being grateful for the time spent and just hope for more time to spend with that person. When we become possessive of people's time, and space, you have to start questioning intentions. Am I your property? Do I not have a will and a mind of my own? Shouldn't you just be grateful that we get to spend time? And if it is that life takes me elsewhere, ask yourself, well, is Neon in a better space than they were before? And if you have my best interest at heart, applaud me, congratulate me, wish me the best. Send me on my way.
Yeah.
It's easy to forget that same principle applies to all facets or all relationships. A parent-child relationship, for example. A parent must be comfortable knowing that one day the child is going to leave the nest, and the connection between the parent and the child doesn't always have to be the same. A sibling must understand that even though you've spent more time with your other sibling, at one point someone else is going to come and take your place, and you should be okay with that, knowing that your connection is greater than time spent, and that your connection is out of a great love and respect and having good intentions and having interest in that person's well-being. And anytime you have to contribute something good, you contribute it. And if you don't have anything, you let it be. But you must be comfortable letting it go and letting things be as they are and letting things go where they need to go, as long as it's for good. If a new person has come into the person's life, and not from a territorial space, but from genuine interest and concern, you want to alert the person that, hey, Noreen, hey, Neon, I think I don't like the space that you're headed in. Not because of me, but because what you've said in the past does not align with what you're doing right now. Is it that you want to be heading in this space? Make it about them.
Yeah.
The more we try to make life about the other person more than about ourselves, but the less self-centered and egocentric that we are in our relationships, the better off we'll be. Everybody, all around.
You started out saying that you weren't sure which position you would take on this. So as we conclude this conversation, what then would you say?
I would say it's a nuanced thing, but I would say that I do not respect rank. I respect value and intentions. And if one is providing value, and I'm not talking material value, but value beyond the material, then that should be valued, that should be appreciated, and that should be nurtured. So if it's coming from the old, nurture that. If it's coming from the new, nurture that. And I don't respect rank.
This was Making It Last podcast. I'm your host, Noreen Daly. Until next time.
Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life.